can't wait to start a dual Destinies, where Cosmos left us on a massive cliffhanger last time. Well, really, it was me, but sorry.
If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads, we'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago.
The Hat 1 miracle. 7 years ago. You mean the so-called Hat 1 miracle? We need to learn all the details about this, because all I thought it was there was a bunch of equipment malfunction, but apparently it was sabotage, and that there was a killer involved.
The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, then the troubles began. It was all the handiwork of a certain person and their evil scheme.
So Mr. Starbuck's traumatic experience wasn't accidental.
Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen.
All this moon keeps coming back into it.
But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered.
Wow. I had no idea such awful events were behind that exciting story of space heroism.
All that in spite of the space into having a very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. You couldn't even spot a wizard or leaf through those checkpoints.
What an interesting example. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage?
At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy.
Huh? A spy? You mean somebody who infiltrates a foreign country? What, you think there was like someone else trying to get ahead of you in the space race? Carries out dangerous missions and always gets the girl? Someone's watching way too many late-night movies. Well, I guess if we're talking about blowing up a rocket and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising that a spy could be behind it all. It's an interesting theory, anywho.
Make no mistake, there's cutthroat rivalry between nations in the space R&D race. Some try to outdo others by any means possible, even deliberate obstruction. 7 years ago, we got a call before the launch warning of sabotage. The same MO as this time. Yes, and here I thought the perpetrator had been caught, but it looks like I was wrong.
Prosecutor Blackwell seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think? Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing?
But there's a good reason we failed to find the real spy. A massive cover-up by the government. Government officials were too embarrassed to admit that they had allowed such a thing to happen at the hands of a spy.
Don't tell me they made the police rush the investigation.
They did indeed. And then to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story.
And that was the Hat 1 miracle, wasn't it? But then, 7 years later, the same MO, advance warning of the sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching the launch pads. Just like 7 years ago. 7 years ago, the spy gave you advance warning of their plans, just like this time. That was what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it?
That's right. The Kara knew the Faster case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They knew about the sabotage, the moon rock, and the murder. And they said, you don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you?
That's actually, probably will play in our favor, though. Because if they knew the details of it, the people who know the details of that are limited to, like, the few government officials involved in the decision, and then your crew, right? So Aura is looking even sketchier than before. Because we assume it won't just be some random government official, because that would be just lame writing, I think. So assuming it was some member of your crew, that leaves you as a suspect, but we know you were switching the thing for the killer to get, while the killer got away, so that it can't be you. Taryn's dead. We acquitted Starbuck already. And the only other two were Aura and the other person who we assume is the person who died 7 years ago. So Aura basically is like the only person.
I immediately thought of calling off the launch, but the government wouldn't let me.
Really?
We don't give in to the likes of terrorists. We must proceed for our country's honor.
Holy shit, dude.
It was quite a moving speech, actually.
Moving? Really? Maybe if we're as easily inspired by political talking points.
But I knew the truth. We had been warned, which meant that the danger was very real. And I knew that there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way.
So that's why I guess the government just sent the police there with a bomb squad instead of calling off the launch? That's like so incredibly messed up. You let like a fresh high school graduate die for that.
That's why I switched to launch pads and staged the moving rescue scene. First, I snuck into the center that night before and switched the launch pads. That way the astronauts would go from boarding lounge 1 to the Space Museum. Then I put a close for repair sign at the door to launch pad 1 in boarding lounge 2.
This in here. So that no civilians would go in, I guess. You did that so normal visitors wouldn't enter, right? What else did you do?
I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Taryn.
But you didn't let Mr. Starbuck in on it.
He's already been through enough, and he's no good at lying to keep a secret. I'm afraid I had no choice but to have him drugged. My plan went well until...
Clay's murder, huh?
After the culprit made their escape, I switched the launch pad back. I did it in such a way that no one would find out, but after all that effort, Darren is dead and the Hat too is destroyed. And the Hope capsule, which had returned to us only recently, was also lost in that blast.
So what was the one they had?
My home, the center of the cosmos, my beautiful cosmos space center is downfall!
Wait, what did he mean by the Hope capsule was lost in that blast? The one we have is a fake? Well, I guess it would have to be if they took it from the Space Museum. But then why would they cling on to it so desperately if they knew it wasn't the real one? But it's right here!
Mankind's crowning achievement. The Hat 1 mission will be in textbooks across the land.
Wow, that historic, huh?
My achievements are grand enough to rival the very best of space itself. My life will be a legendary if you told millions of years in the future. You may proceed to admire and praise me now.
You certainly are an amazing piece of work. Sorry, to the actual talking point. I thought that the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Terran. It had just been brought back by the Hope space probe with asteroid samples inside. So what kind of samples are they? What's in them?
The samples are scheduled for analysis in the near future. We haven't had time because they just came back the day before Terran's murder. The capsule was being held in a safe at Launch Pad 1, which I gave it to Terran before the incident so it wouldn't be destroyed in the explosion.
Oh, so we did have it, but what do you mean it was lost then?
The idea was that with it safely in Terran's possession, he could make it look like he rescued it during the staged miraculous escape.
I thought we found it at the scene in the end, right? Or the police did or something. So this alleged spy didn't make off with it. Unless they took what was inside, maybe.
But our precious research materials ended up lost in that explosion anyway.
But I thought Clay was supposed to keep it safe?
You misunderstand. The launch pad explosion wasn't the one the capsule was lost to. It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence.
But they're gonna give it back, right? I would imagine.
It was the courtroom bombing from the other day. Oh yeah, capsule was there in that courtroom as evidence and it was blown to smithereens.
Damn net. Yet another casualty of that blast.
Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching of the launch pads.
What? How?
The police found a wiretapping device during their investigation today. A bug aboard my battleship. A tap on my advanced communication system.
A wire on that phone?
Yes, a wire on this very phone. I used this phone to give instructions to my staff about launch pad switch. Just to the few select members who knew about the plan. Just before the incident, staff members were coming in and out of launch pad 1. The culprit probably slipped in with them amid the confusion.
Why were staff members coming in and out of there when you put a repairs sign on it? Oh, because there was a launch about to happen to do it and planted the bomb then. Yes, if they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull something like that off. So you really think the same spy is behind this incident and the one 7 years ago?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Then this spy must be the phantom Prosecutor Blackwell's been chasing. But Prosecutor Blackwell told me once, the hunt I've been on for the Phantom of 7 years past continues even still. For starters, that case happened right here at this very Space Center too. So if we can find this Phantom... That's right, we can clear Athena's name. And then there's the matter of Prosecutor Blackwell too.
What about him?
Well, if the culprit of 7 years ago is the same person as in the current incident, it would mean Prosecutor Blackwell's innocent. That's still an if, though. I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without handcuffs. But if we're going on a ghost hunt, count me in!
It's all over for me. Spin, well, I'm done for. The center of the cosmos is doomed.
Do you think he's gonna be alright, Daddy? Well, at least he'll be in good company. There must be planets out there he can spin with. Damn, Phoenix! Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper into that Hat 1 mission, too.
If you want to learn more, start with the Space Museum. There's a Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me, I'll just keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfolds.
It's like he achieved spiritual enlightenment or something. I'm sure he'll stop when he gets dizzy. Let's go visit the Space Museum. Yes, let's! We've been here for, like, hours. That is starting to distract the hell out of me. Please stop doing that. Space Museum. Man, Athena's been questioning me all morning. It's gotta be so sucky for her. Oh, poor Athena. December 20th, Cosmos Space Center, Space Museum. Oh, let's see. Where's the exhibit on the launch 7 years ago? Over here. There's a big slash in the coat. There, that's the Hat 1 exhibit. Oh, wow. Look at that photo of the team. And this is the individual whom we assume was killed 7 years ago. There's Clay and Mr. Starbuck, Director Cosmos, Aura Blackwell, and even Ponko. but I've never seen the woman on the right before. Everybody looks so happy. Well, except for Director Cosmos. I mean, he's giving a thumbs up. He's probably about as happy as he looks. Let's check out the newspaper article, too. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, that's probably the sword that was the murder weapon. And that's some kind of rock, big banner with like a crane on it. One of these, is it a kabuki mask? Is that what this is called? I'm not sure I've got that right. Kabuki is like a type of theater where they wear masks like that, I think. Anyway, that's one of the kinds of masks they wear in it. I think. I don't know enough. Anyway, Hat 1 launch imminent, and there's a photo of the Hope space probe. I guess it's only natural it doesn't talk about the murder or the sabotage. They really were keeping it a secret, just like the director said. Teddy, take a look at that jacket. It must be the Hat 1 team's uniform jacket. It's the same design as the one Apollo was wearing, the one that belonged to Clay. Actual jacket worn by a Hat 1 team member, it says. Not a replica, huh? I wonder if it was Mr. Starbucks. I suspect it was the deceased's. The less recently deceased, because of the gash in it. Hat 1 exhibit added to the Cord record. A newspaper clipping, a photo of the people involved with the launch, and a jacket one of them wore. Hello? Before we hello, so he gives us the photograph, this, and the picture of the jacket. Cool, gotcha. Who is helloing? Hello who? Hello you, robot, maybe? Oh, it's Junie! Hello? Oh, Miss Woods, what brings you here? I heard Athena got arrested, so I've been looking for you, Mr. Wright. I thought you might be here at the scene. You must be so worried. But rest assured, I'm going to do my very best to defend her. Athena's going through such a hard time. I hope she doesn't lose heart. Even just coming back to this place must have been really difficult for her. Right, or I called her the princess of this place, or something like that, right? Huh? You mean the Cosmos Space Center? What, you didn't know? She used to live here when she was a little girl. She did? No, I didn't know. No wonder she knew so much. Miss Woods, could you tell me more in detail? But first, I know it really didn't seem like it when I was defending you, but I am a lawyer. I'm very sorry, but I don't know anything about that. Okay, sorry to bother you. I guess she doesn't have leads on that. I'm just gonna show her everything really quick. Nothing. Please, Athena and the Space Center. Athena's mom worked here. If I remember right, she was a doctor of psychology or something like that. I still don't really understand why Junie's disposition changed so dramatically between the school episode and the rest of it. Like, granted, that would have been pretty traumatic to be supposed as the killer for all that, but... Well, I guess she says she's also doesn't do great with urban environments, so maybe the school is just a bit more rural, and she can handle it a little better. If I remember right, she was a doctor of psychology or something like that. But why was a psychology specialist working at a space research facility? I don't really know. But I do know that she lived and worked here, so Athena lived here too. So it was far from Athena's first time here. I wonder why she didn't mention it. She probably didn't want to talk about it. This place is connected to a very sad memory for her. Sad memory? Like Blackwell getting convicted, perhaps? A sad memory. Can you tell me about it? There was a terrible incident here. It was 7 years ago. The same time frame as the Hat 1 launch. Athena's mom in the robotics lab. Oh, is Athena's mom the other astronaut? Or, well, she wasn't an astronaut exactly, but a researcher. Or I guess a psychology specialist wouldn't be a terrible thing to have around, since going to space can be probably pretty scary, we think. Athena's mom in the robotics lab. She was murdered. What? After it happened, Athena stopped coming to school. Poor Athena. And all this time, she never let on at all. I was so worried about her. I came here so many times hoping to see her. Hold on a moment. They keep focusing on Athena's moon pendant, so does this person have a moon symbol somewhere? Not that I see, anyway. But that would make this person Athena's mom? Interesting. So Athena would have been 11 around the time of this, around the time of her murder. Who knows when this photograph was taken exactly. I was so worried about her. I came here so many times hoping to see her. But I never saw her again. It's a sad version of Athena's theme. No! Athena's theme is so malleable. It's like, depending on the scene, it's like either this depressing like whatever sorrowful aria or whatever, or it's like this bumpin' hero beat, or it's like this yippee skippy we're going to the amusement park theme.
After a while, we started exchanging letters, but I didn't get to see her face to face for 7 long years. And so the first time you'd seen her in 7 years was during Professor Quart's case. That's right. And I was so surprised. She was like a completely different person. So cheerful and happy. What was Athena like as a child? She was very sensitive and kind. She didn't talk very much. She liked to draw and paint at home.
That's completely different from the Athena we know now. I can't even picture it.
She never left the Space Center much because she was very sensitive to other people's emotions. When she went to crowded places, she'd get dizzy from all the emotions flying around.
This sounds like me as a kid, except for the drawing and painting. I never did that. I was horrible with that. But I was like that as a kid. That's so weird. I mean, no, I didn't have like superpowers like she does, obviously. But like my parents eventually had to stop using the radio in the car because if a sad song came on, I would just be bawling for like hours, and it was like completely out of my control. I didn't even like process it as something sad. It was just like if it sounded sad, it was like, well, I'm crying. That's all there is to it.
It must be hard to hear people's hearts as well as their voices. She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Huh. I wonder what kind of research it was. Something to do with psychology and empathy and that, I guess.
Because of her special ability, Athena couldn't handle being in school very often. And I was always out sick because of my weak constitution. Maybe that's why we became such good friends. We used to play together here at the Space Center a lot. It brings back memories.
Sounds like Athena's mother played a big role here at the Space Center. Oh, Daddy, show her that picture. Girl, good idea. This is El Madre, yes? Or La Madre, whatever.
Miss Woods, could you take a look at this for me? Oh, look! There's Athena's mom. The woman on the far right, the one in the kimono. That's Dr. Metis Cykes.
Metis Cykes. Metis? Metis. Metis like medicine? It's an unusual name, so it has to be punny somehow. Metis Cykes. Metis Cykes. Metis Cykes. Metis Cykes. Metis Cykes. Metis Cykes. I got nothing.
Athena's mother's murder. Did it by any chance have any connection to the Hot 1 launch? What? Why, yes, it did. As I recall, it happened on the day before the launch. Just as I suspected.
But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered.
So this is the murder Director Cosmos was talking about. Does that mean that the crime Prosecutor Blackwell was convicted of is the murder of Athena's mother? There's a chance her death is somehow connected to the current case. There is? Thank you for all your help, Miss Woods. Please, try not to worry. I won't let anything happen to Athena. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I know you'll take good care of her.
So, we need to investigate the robotics lab and also talk to Athena. We've got our plates full, Daddy. I hope we can fit it all in before the day is through. The detention center first, then. We have to see Athena before visiting hours are over. We can investigate this place at midnight if we have to. December 20th, detention center visitors room. Well, if it isn't Mr. Lawyer, fancy meeting you here. Oh, hello, Detective Fulbright. Your own business? To tell the truth, I'm here to interview Ted Tenate. The one behind the courtroom bombing incident? Ha! He suddenly said he's ready to tell the truth about that case. And what he was saying was so incredible, I just had to come right over to hear more. Incredible? What was he saying? Why don't you hang around and hear it for yourself? Really? Us? Are you sure? I give you my special permission. Here comes the bomber now. Something no one should ever say excitedly. Oh God, I have to remember this voice. What nerve you have to come here. You're here to laugh at me, I suppose. Like I'd waste my breath on you. After all, you're the one who assaulted Apollo and put him in the hospital. Violence? No. Question? Okay. No violence? Too bad Apollo didn't get a chance to say that before you attacked him. Fine. Then just answer me this, Mr. Tenate. I love Phoenix is going full protective dad mode. What is this truth of yours at the courtroom you blew up? No, I didn't do it. I didn't blow up the courtroom. When I killed Detective Arm, there was another person in that room. What? What are you talking about? Who else could have been there? I saw it. I tell you. I saw someone's hand as they were stealing the remote switch. Icing detective arm. I did that 100%, but bombing a courtroom. No, that's too far. This person was there and witnessed the murder I committed. What? I don't know who it was.
But that's who blew up the courtroom.
You expect us to buy that? Easy there, Trucy. I don't see any psyche locks, so I guess he must not be lying. Pardon me, I got a little carried away, but I'm telling you the truth. I did not detonate that bomb. And there you have it. We can't exactly ignore his claims, of course, so we're doing a follow-up. We're even analyzing the bomb itself, or what's left of it. Oh, what the hell? This part here, whatever it's supposed to be, charred remain of... It looks like the same rock as this. Is that this one of these aforementioned moon rocks or something? I mean, I would have expected a moon rock to be more white, I guess. But I guess I don't really know what a moon rock looks like. You know, or an asteroid sample, or whatever it's supposed to be. So there was one inside the bomb? The hell are the odds of that? We haven't found any new facts yet, though. Wow, they've laid it all out piece by piece. Oh, look at all those beautiful little pieces. Except for this one, which I find unusual. I wish I could have them. Uh-oh, looks like his geek switch has been activated. Phony Fancy Bomb added to the Cord record once again. It was found in the boarding lounge. Sorry, it was found in boarding lounge 1 and detonated in courtroom number 4. What? It was the same bomb? What do you mean it was found in boarding lounge 1? Oh no, right, sorry. This was the one that didn't detonate when they detonated all the other ones. And then they brought it to the courtroom for that other thing. Sorry, the timeline got me all confused. No, that's exactly what they did say that already. This was like the one dud that didn't go off, right? And then they brought it back for Woods' case, where it blew up the whole courtroom. Fragments are being analyzed, and so we've got this photograph from the first case and this old one here. Gotcha. Well, I hope you're ready for Prosecutor Blackwell's special brand of questioning. Anything but that. I'm afraid I have to be off now too. I was just meant to question Miss Cykes. Oh, you're going to see Athena now? That's right. Oh, did you folks come to see her? Sorry for the trouble, but could you come back later? Well, off I go. What bad timing. Looks like we'll have to wait until after her questioning is over to see her. And after we came all this way, too. Well, I guess it's back to the Space Center. Let's go check out the robotics lab, Daddy. All right, sounds like a plan. Yes, let's. What do you make of all this stuff we just picked up, though, Trucy? Hey, it's Phony Fanty. You know this character? Yeah, it's the craze at my school, too. I had no idea this thing was so popular. There are 2 camps, the Bum Rap Ronnie fans and the Phony Fanty fans. Which side are you on, Daddy? Well, as a lawyer, I'd like to avoid both of them if I can help it. Robotics lab. This I just got a And the murder happened at the robotics lab, too. That's extra sketchy for Aura. December 20th, Cosmos Space Center, a robotics lab. The Judge-Tron JTO2. Oh my god. This is the appliance for the Judge-Tron 01 on the wall here. Why is there a flail? December 20, Cosmos Center. Sorry, Cosmos Center? What did I just say? Cosmos Space Center Robotics Lab. My brain just phased out of existence there. So this is the robotics lab, huh? Looks like it's exactly 1 floor above the boarding lounge. Oh, wow. Very concerning spacing. Wait, but then who was climbing? The Aura would have been climbing down from there. That's what's directly above it. And where people were directed to evacuate from via the emergency ladder. This is where Athena's mother was killed 7 years ago. Speaking of someone who works with robots... Oh, Daddy, look! Over there! She's got a gun! You tackle her! Oh no, it's Apollo. So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right? Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about the case and have a nice cup of tea instead? Apollo and Aura Blackwell. I wonder what they're talking about. Well. Come to spoil our fun? Just when I was enjoying our alone time. Trucy! And Mr. Wright. If it's Apollo you want, you can't have him. He said he's investigating on his own. And I respect his wishes. We just came to investigate this lab. Well, this is my lab, so you'll need my permission if you want to do any snooping. But I'm a lawyer. Let's just ask if she knows anything about the 2 new things we picked up. I think we already tried everything else that we have here, except the lighter, I suppose. Right, never mind then. About what happened?
Clonk. I heard about the trial. You made mincemeat out of the director. And suddenly Starbuck was out and your little subordinate, the princess, was in. Case closed. And they all lived happily ever after.
Daddy, say something to her.
And I suppose you're going to defend the princess in court, am I right? The princess, huh? Guess she's talking about Athena. Of course, Athena's innocent. Oh my, such loyalty and trust. She seems pretty suspicious to me, though. The emotionally unstable princess. There's a culprit for you. Don't you agree, Apollo? I don't know yet.
Apollo, how could you?
What's wrong with saying I don't know if it's true? It's a very scientific approach. Your subordinate is more level-headed than you. Or should I say, former subordinate. I can't believe it. Does Apollo really suspect Athena? He seems pretty shaken to me. I don't think he's...
I think if he does, holy crap. Apollo's not going to prosecute this case, is he?
If he does suspect Athena, he's not happy about it, and he's working to rectify that. I'm pretty sure. All this laughing has worn me out. Your turn to say something, hunk of junk.
Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay?
Mr. Terran? Well, that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. Things you shouldn't say to lawyers. Part 1.
Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran.
I guess Clay intends to hang around to haunt the princess that murdered him. Oh, and to haunt the lawyer that defends her too, of course. A robot that can see ghosts? Yeah, right, and I'm a spirit medium. Sorry, but apparently scientists just don't tell very frightening ghost stories. I intend to defend Athena no matter what you have to say about it. How perfectly foolish. That kind of blind belief makes people lose sight of the truth. Just like 7 years ago.
And do expound upon that in most exquisite detail.
Could you tell me about the incident 7 years ago? Why? Do you enjoy trampling on people's feelings and rubbing salt in their wounds? Or do you just want me to talk? In that case, what should I ask for in return? I'd like to hear about that incident too. It'd help me understand the current case better. Huh? Apollo knows about that case too. Well, if you're the one who's asking Apollo, come on, hunk of junk. You tell a story. I'm not sure you should let a malfunctioning robot do anything.
But Miss Order, that's private information.
If you won't talk, I'll just have to make you talk.
Yes, who cares about personal privacy? Not me. I'm ready to utilize my blast processing ability to impart all
Blast processing.
to impart all available information.
Well, what a magic trick. He's like a completely different robot now.
The bodies of all the robots that come through this lab are designed by Miss Order. I was born 7 years ago. Miss Order was much, much younger then.
Yikes. Better watch what we say if you don't want to get recycled, Clonko.
And then our hearts were created by that great genius, Dr. Cykes.
Hearts? Robots with hearts? Can you even make such a thing?
Emotions are not irrational things. Our logic and our hearts can be integrated. The 2D navigation companions created by Miss Order and Dr. Metis transcend humans.
Metis. Huh? She just glanced over at her desk. Nobody could continue Metis' research. She and her work were truly one of a kind. And now the 2 navigation companions are all that are left of Metis here on Earth. So Aura murdering her does seem less likely now, actually. Although she's still probably the most suspicious one. The robots are all that's left? Isn't she leaving out a very important someone? We built the ultimate creations together. But now she's gone. I get the feeling Dr. Cykes loved her robots almost as much as she loved her daughter. And almost as much as she loved you. What are you talking about? Don't make me laugh. But you lost someone too, didn't you, Apollo? Your friend Clay. I guess you and I are pretty much in the same boat.
Miss Order, would you like a tissue?
Keep your trap shut, Haka Junk. Clonko and Ponko.
Clonko is an important keepsake of your time with Dr. Cykes. You should treat him better.
What does it matter? He doesn't feel pain and I can always repair his body. Besides, their hearts aren't actually in their bodies. What do you mean by that?
The program Metis wrote runs on a separate mainframe. Their bodies are controlled remotely from there. Their hearts and memories are there too. These bodies are really just peripherals. So, I can do anything I want to them. I'm not so sure that gives you the right to physically abuse the poor things. But why are you people looking into such an old case now anyway? Well, we believe the culprit of that incident might be the same person as in this case. So Daddy's gonna find out who killed Dr. Cykes too. I'm sure you're aware of who Metis' killer is. Yes, Prosecutor Blackwell. Or so it seems. That's a quaint way of putting it. Are you implying you don't think he did it? I can't say anything for sure right now. But that's exactly why I'd like to hear your side of it, to help me be sure. Dr. Cykes and Simon. I was the one who introduced Simon to Metis, you know. He wanted to learn psychology, he said, to give himself an edge in court. Prosecutor Blackwell's forte. His infamous power of suggestion technique. Exactly. And he was oddly serious about it. Rather than a teacher-student relationship, he treated her more like how a loyal samurai would treat his sovereign. He seems more like a lost soul than a dignified samurai to me. He even got along well with that miserable little princess. I figured. Why do you call Athena the princess, anyway? Well, she is Metis' daughter, after all, although she's nothing like her. Besides, doesn't the selfish little princess always have lots of white knights hanging around? Now I think I see why Athena didn't say anything when we ran into Aura yesterday. It all makes sense now. Clonk. So the culprit behind the two cases could be the same, huh? That settles it then. What does it settle? None of your business. Just forget you heard anything. How long are you people gonna hang around in here anyway? Until all your talking points are exhausted. What? But we came here to take a look around. You think you can just waltz in and ransack a person's lab? Show me a search warrant! We're not the police, so we don't have one. Then get out. Now! Clonko, show them out.
So certainly, Miss Order.
Oh, don't push!
My apologies. I'm just following orders.
Ah! Oh. December 20th. Cosmos Space Center entrance. What a way to get shown out. The nerve of that woman. What's with that horrible attitude? I guess that's just how she is. And why was Apollo going along with her? I guess it's because they have something in common. Apollo lost Clay just like how Aura lost Dr. Cykes. I'm really worried about him. He's not himself at all. He's usually not all cool and dark and mysterious like that. I guess that's true. Does he mean he's usually silly and dorky? I'm gonna keep my eye on him. Hey, wait! Trucy! Come back! She's gone. What should I do now? An excellent question, Phoenix, that we'll be answering next time on Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. But we've learned... God, every episode now that we're rushing towards the climax of this game is just like massive information dump after massive information dump. So many more motivations and stuff make sense. So we know that Metis Cykes, Athena's mother and victim of the murder 7 years ago, she was a talented psychologist like her daughter. We know that these two were rather close. Apollo was hanging around there, and he seemed to suggest that these two had a strong love for one another. And so I guess we can trust his judgment on that matter. So if the culprit from this one and the last one are the same, it seems unlikely that Aura would have been the killer. Unless it's like it was some weird big Ace Attorney twist where like it was dark and she killed someone who she thought it was someone else and she accidentally killed Dr. Sykes here. Meet is Sykes. Met is Sykes. Met-is Sykes. Mete Sykes. I don't think I'm gonna get it. Oh, unless it's like French, the word métis as in mixed, and it means something else relevant to the story, like she was conflicted on something or something. Anyway, by the way they spoke of each other, Aura and Simon aren't especially close, although if Aura believes that Simon killed the good doctor here, then I suppose that would be a reason for their divide. Can't believe they got Athena wrapped up in all this. What's our new case brief, by the way? Just defendant, victim, Athena's prince were found on the lighter killer. Okay. I'm very much liking this. They're adding a lot of very personal stakes to this, and it's shaping up to be a very good case. Next video on the channel, however, though, is some more Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, so that is all for now in Ace Attorney land. Thank you so very much for coming around. Hopefully I will see you around. Admiral's gonna be out of here now. Peace! I took the wrong road away. I hope you'll be able to forgive me someday. But all I see over there is a Hinox among the trees. I actually would like to fight this big monster because I don't have it in the book, alright. Yes, I do.